Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is Untrap Yourself. I read a book by Harry Brown called How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World. I can't remember if that's the exact title, but it was something like that. And this was an excellent book, very, very eye-opening to me. I read parts of it back even before I left my wife, and a lot of the principles that I've lived my life by since then have kind of followed that model. And even looking back when I was a younger man, I kind of did a lot of the things he had talked about in that book naturally. And I think you'll find that naturally happy, naturally free people kind of do a lot of the things he says. So he clarified all of these ideas into one book, and of course there's other offshoots to this. And in that book there was a chapter about getting out of traps, or getting out of boxes, which is the box is in effect a trap, that you're in this box and you've trapped yourself in this box, and for a variety of reasons you feel you can't get out of that box. You feel trapped, and the whole point of his talking about that is in order to have a free life and a better life and a more abundant life and a happier life, all those things work together. You've got to get out of that box, out of that trap, untrap yourself. You see what I mean? And there's many different boxes and traps we get ourselves into, and we think we can't make a change because, well, we're already doing this. I can't stop. So let's say you're in college and you've got some major and you're going along, semester by semester, and at some point during this experience in college you find out, God, I really hate doing this stuff. This is just terrible. I hate everything about it. But so instead of changing your major or dropping out of college altogether or rethinking what you're doing, you plow ahead and finish your degree and then get a job in that field, that major field that you just knew that you totally hate, right? You were in that trap of just because I'm doing this now I gotta do it. Continue. When I was in grade school and high school, I was good at football. I was big, lineman type of a guy. But I also played basketball, and I wasn't good at basketball. I was kind of terrible at it, even though I was practicing and I wanted to be good, but I never got good at it. So I didn't like playing basketball, but I started in 7th, 8th, freshman, sophomore, junior, 5 years. Never got any good, never really got good enough to contribute. And even though I was a good enough athlete to contribute to our football team, in fact, I was very good at football. I couldn't really figure out why I was so bad at basketball, but, body type and the type of athletics you need for football don't translate to basketball, basically. Some guys are good at both or great at both, but of course then they're very, very good athletes, right? That's the key, and the position they play is conducive to both. But anyway, I played through my junior year, and after my senior year of football, I decided, and then there's a 2-week gap between the end of the football season and the start of the basketball season. And truthfully, that 2 weeks, that was the best part of the whole year for me, when I wasn't in football and I wasn't in basketball. So I kind of pointed the way. And then the previous year, I missed out on that 2 weeks because we were a very good football team. We went to the playoffs, and the 2 weeks were playoffs, not nothing, right? Not a gap. So I loved that 2 weeks, and then I loved the spring because I wasn't in anything, right? So it got me thinking, and then some other happenstances happened around this end of the football season that got me thinking, and I thought very hard for 2 weeks. And right before the basketball season was going to start, I went to the coach and told him, yeah, I'm not gonna play basketball this year. Of course, he flew off the handle with rage. You know, he was one of these hard charging types of rageful guys, which you'll find a lot in the sports, in the coaching. But, you know, after he calmed down, I, you know, kind of stood by held firm to stuck to my guns. That was my decision. And he, you know, he told me to think about it. And of course I said I would think about it, but that's just something you say. When people say, I'll think about it, it means the answer is no, right? But you use that to kind of get yourself out of a tough situation. Well, I'll think about it. All right, I'll sleep on it. I've done this many times. You know, once you make a decision, you probably should stick to your decision, unless for whatever reason you want to. It's your life, after all. But anyway, getting back to the basketball, if I, up until then, I believed in this box trap. I said, well, I started basketball in 7th grade. My dad played basketball. All the friends are playing basketball. I'm playing it. I got a basketball hoop on the driveway. I've gone to these practices all this time. I got the shoes and the basketball practice equipment. I guess I have to play basketball, right? Well, if you believe in the trap, you'll play basketball. And if you don't believe in the trap, you'll quit the basketball. And so I ended up quitting the basketball and had the best rest of my high school that I've ever had. It was by far the happiest I'd ever been in my life up until that point. That one decision to get out of that trap made my life, made my senior year. I had so much fun. I did so well in school. I did good with the ladies. I had made lots of new friends. I had just one heck of a great time. And I started weight training. I went to the basketball games. We'd go out with the friends who didn't play basketball. We'd go to the game. We went to all the road games, the home games. We had a heck of a good time cheering for our team and all the stuff people do up in the stands. We did those things, and it was fun. It was fun, but I didn't have the pain of playing something that I was no good at anymore. I got out of that trap, and I keep reaching back to that memory, as that was like a defining moment for me to improve the quality of my life just by saying no and getting out of that trap. Okay? You know, I talk a lot about leaving, you know, bad marriages and how to leave your wife and become a happier man with the 3-step system on, you know, it's available on my website at happierman.com. And that idea of the basketball kept coming back to me, that I knew deep down inside my gut that if I can quit this marriage, my life has to get better than it is now, because my life was just a terrible, stupid, stinking mess of depression and misery. So I knew anything would be better than that. But I still had that trap idea, right? The box. Well, you're married, you have to stay married. Even though people are getting divorced, you know, and the divorce rate is high. I would argue the divorce rate is not nearly high enough, because you see so many couples that they're not happy. They're not happy. I would argue the divorce rate should be about 90%, because people just get tired of of each other. But anyway, my parents were still married and very happy. Her parents were still married and very happy. Her brother and 2 sisters, they were all married, and I wouldn't say happy, but they were tolerating each other. And they didn't seem to be so terrible. You know, one didn't seem so terrible to the other like, you know, my wife was to me. And my brother was divorced, and my wife was, you know, always digging it into me about how terrible that was that they were divorced, even though it was his wife who initiated it. And I had a couple of good friends who were divorced and doing so much better, and she wouldn't allow me to socialize with those guys. And you get what I mean? Even where I worked, everybody was married, so there's this huge amount of pressure on you to stay married because, you know, other people are married, and there's this huge societal pressure to stay married because what happens in a marriage when the 2 people split, your finances are going to get wrecked beyond whatever you imagine how bad your finances are going to be before you get divorced. It's going to be a lot worse. You're going to suffer financially a lot more than you think. That's why you should get my book, Leave Your Wife and Become a Happier Man with the 3-Step System, because I kind of explain a few things in there, how you might help yourself a little bit, and how I wish I would have helped myself a little bit more than I did. But if you're living your life based on finances over happiness and peace of mind, your life is lost. You're going to have a terrible life. Every day for the rest of your blasted, stupid life, you're going to be in misery. So you either have that and you can make your mortgage payment, or you don't make your mortgage payments and you have a happy life. That's kind of what you might want to think of it as. And houses come and go. I had another video I talked about. I had a beautiful house back when I was married. The houses come and go. What difference does it make what kind of a house you have anyway? But anyway, getting out of that trap. So I got out of that marriage trap. I knew I couldn't be happy staying with her, and I have the book with all that information. The book is chock full of information to help you make that decision. That's why you should get the book if you have any thoughts about this. But and I've compiled a lot of information from other sources to help you make the decision. But that trap, that marriage trap, just because you're married doesn't mean you have to stay married. Just because you're playing basketball today doesn't mean you got to play tomorrow. Just because you're going to work at this place today doesn't mean next month you can't get a better job. Just because you live in this part of town doesn't mean you can't go there. You get what I mean? You can make the changes to make your life better. I hope that's clear enough. You got to get out of the trap. The trap will drag you down into an unmerciful, miserable life. The sooner you realize whatever bad situation you are in is a trap, the sooner you can start to make the changes necessary to untrap yourself. So give that idea some thought. Have a good day. All for now.